Last year when I started this show, one of the things when I first started that was going around, one of the big topics on shows like this on Twitter amongst Buckeye fans was what happens if Ryan Day loses the game in 2024? Will he be fired? Should he be fired? My answer to that at the time was no. But if you'd asked me 2 months prior, I would have said yes. The reason my answer was no at that time is because Ryan Day had changed my mind. We saw Ryan Day head into that offseason and make a lot of changes. Gave up play calling, took on the CEO role, got a little more cutthroat when it comes to player acquisition. The example I used at the time was bringing in Julian Sayin, who he had tried to go after before bringing in Aaron Nolan. Julian Sayin was locked in with Alabama. Then he went after Aaron Nolan, got Aaron Nolan in the class. Now, it was tough for him to bring in Julian Sayin. Two days straight of meetings at the Woody about whether or not he should do it. And he didn't want to do it because he told Aaron Nolan, you'll be the only quarterback in the class. But he did it anyway because he said he knew it would help the team. And that was a cutthroat move that I don't think he would have made before that period. I don't think he would have given up plays before that period, as we know. And it was just more of this shift into this CEO role that, quite frankly, we've now seen pay dividends. One of the contributing factors that got his team over the hump, getting to that final goal of a national championship. But where he was at that point was so close. He was so close to getting there. And a lot of times when you see coaches in that position, most times they say, we're so close. All we need to do is keep chopping wood. But he didn't do that. He evaluated his program. He found a couple potential spots where he could potentially improve. And he took the risk, took the leap, and he did it, even though it was uncomfortable. And when he did that, my thinking was, I've got to give him at least 2 years of buy-in now that he's made these changes, because you don't expect changes like that, a change that big, giving up play calling, converting into this CEO role. You don't expect that to work perfectly year one. So I gave him 2 years. And that was my argument to that conversation that we had in the offseason. One of the biggest ways that I think we saw this CEO role, Ryan Day moving into a kind of a different style of manager, is this year post-Oregon in Autzen. 32-31, Buckeyes lose. Defense doesn't look good. We've talked about it. He knew he made a mistake a while ago with the situation and the way this was set up, that the defensive line coach, Larry Johnson, had too much sway on what could or could not happen in the defensive coordinator, Jim Knowles' system. And I understand how he got himself in that situation, though he never should have been there. But why did he get himself in that situation? If you put yourself in Ryan Day's shoes, you got a legendary defensive line coach, the guy widely considered as the greatest of all time. He has been there longer than you. He's not incredibly easy to work with. So if you can get things on defense while still allowing him to do his thing, staying in a good mood, you don't got to rock the boat, and everyone's playing good and the defense is getting good results, why would you rock the boat? The defensive coordinator may not be able to do everything he likes to do, but everybody's happy. We're winning games and the defense is playing great. And that was the case a lot of the time until that Oregon game. And he took that as his opportunity to rock the boat and correct this system that he had set up here. Give Jim Knowles full control and tell him he wants an aggressive defense. He wants pressure on the quarterback. He wants his guys lined up when the ball's snapped. Do what you need to do and fix it. And Larry and everybody else can hear this now. What he says goes. I don't want to hear another word about it. I don't ever want to see that, what we just saw, again, not in my program. That's what he did. And he fixed the issue. Didn't care who got their feelings hurt. Didn't care who got angry. He's trying to win a national championship. And this is his program. And that right there, managing people, man, managing people, managing egos. This is a very under-discussed thing when we talk about best coaches. I am not someone who liked to listen to anybody give the excuse that Ryan Day was only in his 6th year as a head coach. If you are in sales and I ask you, Are you new to sales and you're in your 6th year? Are you going to tell me you're new? No, absolutely not. You're a vet. If you've been a head coach at Ohio State, the highest of the high, for 6 years, you're not a new coach. But it does take a long time to learn the proper managing techniques when you're managing people. And it's difficult. You got a lot of personalities. Everybody thinks their way is the best, particularly, and you've all worked with guys that are older who have done great things in their career. They're pretty set in their ways usually. They don't like change, and they certainly don't like somebody else coming in and telling them what they're doing is wrong, or in this case, pulling one of their guys off the field that they recruited, that they said, we play 4 down linemen. That's all we do. And you're one of my guys. You win a starting spot for me. You're going to be in every play. These are all part of the things that Ryan Day had to deal with. And Ryan Day acquiescing to that in the beginning, I totally understand. But this is part of the process that he's gone through. And I think what he did right there was an opportunity he had been waiting for to correct this. And he seized it, and it propelled that defense and this team to a national championship. All changes that he made this year that I don't think we would have seen in the first 5 years. So to that aspect, he's still learning and growing and evolving as a coach for sure, but he isn't new. The 5-day period from the end of the national championship until the players could no longer enter the transfer portal, pretty stressful time. And these coaches had to deal with this immediately after winning the national championship, which I felt very bad about, though I felt worse for Notre Dame, who had to deal with this despite losing the national championship. So Ohio State would much rather be in their position than Notre Dame's. And boy, did they do a whole lot better than Notre Dame did. They only lost 2 guys in Hero Kanu and Calvin Simpson Hunt. Now, Hero Kanu and Calvin Simpson Hunt, along with Mitchell Melton and Gabe Powers, the 4 guys that they lost in the transfer portal that were quality guys who could have really helped you with depth. Mitchell Melton played quite a bit this year. Calvin Simpson Hunt, who knows, could have eventually become a starter at some point. Hero was in your rotation this year. And Gabe Powers, that's a quality backup linebacker. So losing those guys sucked. But only losing Calvin Simpson Hunt and Hero Kanu in that 5-day period was unbelievable. Being able to retain Carnell. And I don't know if you knew this, but I just found this out. Apparently, other teams, not just Oregon and Texas, were all over the Carnell Tate thing. This is from a Penn State publication. Portal update. OSU wide receiver won't transfer, thus won't go to Penn State. Here's Frank from Tennessee.
How we doing on this Saturday, Big Orange Nation? This is Frank, House of Orange, coming at you. The big topic around Tennessee football, really, ever since the national championship game ended, has been Carnell Tate. Would Carnell Tate enter the portal? If so, would Tennessee get involved with him?
So that was the big topic around Tennessee football. I had no idea. But what they were able to do, retaining those guys, retaining Jermaine Matthews, keeping IGB out of the NFL, just a phenomenal job. I definitely expected we were going to have some more bombs drop. So getting out of that, now we're not all the way out of the weeds, but getting out of that for as we head into the spring,